everybody, wherever you're watching me from. Daisy's in the background. I'm just jumping on just to really explain a little bit more about a groundbreaking technique that has been developed called somatic memory repatterning technique. Just going to check I'm live. Yeah. This so far has been getting incredible results based on childhood trauma, because that's where it all starts. It's trauma that's stored in our nervous system. And one of the things, as a coach, I've been a coach for several years. I train people to advanced master level coaching, and it's holistic based, it's spiritual. We do a lot of inner child healing, and yet there's still an element with a client that can feel so resistant to overcoming something that's been quite traumatic in their childhood. And when we say traumatic, we don't necessarily mean how we used to perceive trauma, which is, catastrophic, war, domestic violence, abuse, that kind of thing. It can be a teacher shouting at you as a child, being embarrassed, being overwhelmed, being asked to take part in a play and having to speak in public, or just being felt like you were shamed or humiliated as a child in some way. Parents shut you down, imprint in the nervous system. So when we work with a client with SMART, somatic memory repatterning technique, we are really bypassing any conscious talking our way out of, or rationalizing our way out of traumatic experience. We all know as adults that being shouted at as a 5 or 6 year old in school, as an adult looking back, really isn't that bad and would not affect us in the slightest now. And we think, why do we feel this way? Why can't I jump on social media and do a live video? Why can't I give a presentation or stand up in public and speak to a group without feeling this shame and shut down? And our system goes into I think my internet is a bit dodgy. Great. Bloody hell. Why is it I can own bloody online business and the worst thing in the world to me is tech and social media? So I think I'm back online. I don't know. I'm really sorry about that. My internet just decides to cut off sometimes. So I'm explaining about somatic memory repatterning technique. I've been using this technique on a trial basis. We've trialed it on, I don't know, maybe 13 women. Great results on limiting beliefs, fears, and blocks. And as I've been a coach for a number of years and I've developed my own spiritual coaching method, which is really effective, we work on the inner child, and that's where all the trauma is stored. And that's what causes people the biggest problems as an adult. Why can't I, do the big scary things that are going to move me forward in my life, such as go for the promotion, do the presentation, put myself forward? It's just a physical sensation that people feel, this overriding physical feeling of trauma, and it completely stops them in their tracks. It stops them from speaking out, from being seen, from being heard, and for really living their fullest potential. So why does that even happen? Well, we now, when we look back on our life and we think, God, when I was 5 or 6 and a teacher shouted at me, or I was humiliated in a school play, we probably don't see that as a big deal as an adult. But as a child, it creates a traumatic imprint. And the late great Candace Pert, brilliant book, Molecules of Emotion, she shows us that emotions aren't just in the brain, that actual physical chemical, it's chemical, basically, like hormones and receptors that flood our system, that create an emotion within us, and that happens all over the body. So when we consciously talk about trauma, we can completely rationalize it, but that does not change how we feel about it in one way, shape, or form. And it's how we feel that helps us to do things, that drives us, that gives us our kind of motivation. So willpower alone can't override a deeply held traumatic imprint. So what does? Well, somatics do. Moving it out of the body really, really helps. And there are many different ways that you can do this. Somatics has become a big kind of field in this world, because as the body kind of takes on all of this trauma, it does, a fight, flight, or freeze response. And you'll notice that in yourself. And then there's the work of Wilhelm Reich, who talks about body armoring. So the body will actually take on a somatic movement in response to your trauma. So what's involved in trauma is the amygdala, the hippocampus, and the prefrontal cortex. So we store emotions and we create content around the emotions, but that can get distorted because of the trauma. And our prefrontal cortex, which is about rational thinking and decision making, that gets stunted as well because of the trauma. So when we're trying to talk our way out of something, it doesn't quite hit the mark. So somatic memory repatterning technique works on finding a memory that's associated to the current issues, using the SMRT technique, which is a somatic movement, 2 somatic poses, 2 somatic movements. It's almost like a switching technique, and it reduces the emotional intensity that's associated to the original trauma imprint, the memory. So after a few, goes of this technique, when you check in to the original memory, which usually has the client crying, physically upset, maybe feeling sick, heavy heart, tight chest, wrenching stomach, sweaty palms, all of that comes with a nervous system overload. After a couple of goes with this method, when you check in with the memory that's causing the problem, the memory's either completely gone. So the client is like, I know that happened, but I'm really struggling to remember it. Or it fades it so much so it's like, I can barely see it now. And the feelings, so that, the trauma feelings have gone. They are completely changed, because if there isn't a memory stored, if the storing of the trauma is gone, so has the emotional content which was wrapped around it. So the nervous system is free to go on and complete the thing that the client cannot do when they come to see you to have a SMRT session. So I've worked now with people with all different issues, from like being kind of traumatized at school, childhood bullying, low self-esteem, lack of confidence, can't go on social media, feels inadequate to submit coursework, fear of heights, so phobias, smoking dependency, even kind of some compulsive behaviors, OCD, constant door checking. So, all of this is a dysregulated nervous system. So, when you find the memory or memories that are associated, are stored in that hippocampus and amygdala, and we kind of rewire them with the SMART technique, the emotional impact goes. So there is no need to be afraid. The brain and the body are not giving you signals that there is something to be scared of. So my client could walk over the bridge that the fear of heights, my lady with the fear of heights, she had a bridge near her house that she's never been able to step foot on before. She was anxious and sweaty and heart racing and hot and sick as she was just describing what it would be like to walk over the bridge to me. So there was a physical traumatic response, even just talking about it, because that memory and associated emotions are being triggered in her nervous system as she's talking about it. Consciously, she's not on the bridge, but her body doesn't know that. So it's having a trauma response to it. Within 24 hours of a somatic memory repatterning session with me, she videoed herself walking across the bridge, looking over the side, which was a horrendous drop. I couldn't have done it. And told me that she had no feelings about it whatsoever. So the memory, the trauma imprint that was originally there, causing the problem, causing the physical resistance, can't walk over that bridge, can't even go near that bridge. She was able to easily walk over that bridge, peer over the side, film herself doing it. There was no need to coach herself or tell herself she's going to be okay. There was nothing, because there were no feelings there. There were no fear-based feelings attached to walking over the bridge. So this technique works very quickly. With deeper, more complex issues, where there has been more childhood trauma, then there is more sessions that are required, and we do some more advanced methods as well. But for limiting beliefs, so we've had people who have had a bit of childhood trauma, well, quite a lot of childhood trauma, where there's been a lot of fear there. Lady had a fear of going on social media, so it was really holding her back in her business. She had a fear of being vulnerable with her clients. She was a life coach, so she wanted to share her story, but she had a deep feeling that if she did, people would leave her and abandon her. We located the memory, we did the SMART technique, and now she's just free as a bird to go on social media, which she is doing, and really pushing herself forward in her business with confidence and ease. So really, there is no talking your way out of these trauma imprints. Yes, rationally, we know they don't make sense as an adult, but that's not the point. The point is it's stored as an imprint in your brain and nervous system, and you can't talk your way out of it, but you can release it from the body, because it's not just stored in the brain. It's not stored in the brain, it's stored in the body. If it was stored in the brain, why would we get sweaty palms? Why would we feel sick? Why would our heart ache or our muscles tense up? Your memories, your trauma imprints are all over your body. So this is a groundbreaking technique, and I am running my first training in it in April 12th and 13th. So if you did want to know more, we've got a wait list open, and you're welcome to join it, and you get access to all of the case study interviews that we've done as well, working on all the different issues with their experience and how it's worked for them. And what's really great about this is it's a self-help tool for clients as well. So you show the client the technique, and they continue the practice at home. And some of my clients have gone, I only need one session, I've got the technique, and actually I'm using this technique on another issue, another memory that's come up. I want to work on issues with my mom and my relationship, and I've got a memory that's really painful. I'm going to use it. And one lady has done that, and she's reported seeing a significant difference in that area as well. So this can be used as a self-help tool It's really quick, it's really easy to learn. You can use it on yourself, obviously, as a self help tool, or you can integrate it into your current skill set. So, if you are a coach or a therapist or a healer and you want to use it, it's great to get those people just past the sticking point that they're in. So, if you want to know more, just comment and I will pick it up somewhere. And I wish you well. Take care.